Minister, you can come this side. Greetings to the leadership. I will give over the microphone to the CEO. Minister, we have a good turnout of the media today. We are going to do a walkabout from this location up until the bridge. So I will give over to the CEO to get the project manager to explain what is happening here, and from here to the bridge.
Yeah, good morning, Honorable Minister. Always a pleasure to host you at one of our construction sites to showcase the work that you mandate as a son. Implementation agent. Of course,
that's also part of the causes of the accidents. We are catering for pedestrians, so along the whole stretch as well of the road, we will put in block paving to cater for what we call it. So yeah, I think we can proceed then to the bridge just to inspect what's happening there. Thank you.
You can be talking, of course. Also mention the fact that it's a double carriageway.
Yeah. So we're working now on a recently surfaced portion of the road. As you can see, we've got the black stuff. We call it asphalt. So they've recently surfaced that. So we are progressing as and when the base, we call it, is available and ready to be surfaced. Currently, the road is one lane in both directions, and the upgrade entails us opening up the median barrier. As you can see, a concrete median barrier in the middle. And the intention for that is to stop the migrants. So you see along the we've got what we call roundabouts. So our roundabouts are also assisting as a calming, traffic calming measure. And then we also have some intersections that are, okay.
No, it's not somewhere right. But just in the bottom. Yeah, no,
I'll just appeal to the crowd just to be safe. Please, wearing a hard hat, you're not going to be allowed to go down to the bridge site. So just make sure you've got your proper PPE on and not go too close also to the river. So just adhere to all the road signs and that we've got there. Okay? What do I say? I was not trained to speak. I was trained to do construction.
And you are live on social media.
Oh my gosh. To it. So we have started upgrading the bridge as well, widening it. So that we can cater for the other carriageway. So like I said, currently it's one lane in both directions. Now we're going to have 2 lanes. So on top of that bridge that is already cast, we're going to have what we call a bridge deck. So that's where the road now is going to be crossing over.
I've just heard, Minister, some wonderful news. The aggregate that is here is supplied by this gentleman. He pulled me aside to say, you see, this aggregate is from my mine. I've monopolized the supply here.
Yes, I'm the only one.
You are the only one here. Okay. All right. No, thank you, sir. Very proud of that.
No, thank you very much.
You're doing as well. I hope you are also employing some youth and women in your mind. Okay. That's what we like to hear. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, colleagues. Just for where we are going to stand, Minister, you can see there's someone who's putting branding there, so we'll ask you to face the camera. We'll stand there, and I will ask that most of us remain behind the camera. Minister, the mayor, and the Sandra executive can go over there. Minister, you can come this side. Yeah, I will just ask everyone to remain this side. And then we come this side. I'm going to come and join. Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I will go give back to the project manager.
Thank you. I'm not going to talk much to the bridge. I think we've already done that. So we don't want to be too technical. So we've got what we call wing walls that have been built already. So what you are seeing there, it's a lot of scaffolding that's supporting the concrete works that's been done. So we are busy casting. As soon as we are done, then we complete on the left-hand side. So the intention is to build the road on the right-hand side, complete that. Once we are done, we start moving over. You would have noticed as we were driving that already in some sections we're driving on the right-hand side already. That has been completed. I think maybe one of the major things that we can talk to as well is the environmental impact that we had to adhere to. whilst we're busy building the road, we needed to make sure that the water course is not disturbed as much as possible. So there are those other legislative things that we need to adhere to as well.
So the river is flowing there?
Yes. Yeah, no, we couldn't stop the river from flowing. Yeah.
They can't see.
Obviously, we have also some of our SMMEs participating as well in this project, and I think they have gained a lot of skills throughout this. So another challenge that we did not foresee prior to us starting construction is the challenges with just the drainage system in the area. And you would have noticed as we're driving up the road, there's quite a bit of stormwater system that we had to build. And as a result, we've got what we call community development projects that we are going to be implementing hopefully soon. This time without any disturbances. The tenders were out. I think we should be advertising appointing hopefully in the next month or so. Once we've appointed, then we will have at least community members participating in those projects, and those projects really entail us upgrading some of the access roads in the area. So these are indlela ezingenela emzini because of the whole
What is it?
Apologies, everyone. All right. Okay. No, thank you. Thank you, Nonto. I think we're going to try and round up and then hand over to the minister. We are also pressed for time. But just to recap, and I want you to hear this because I made this undertaking to the mayors and the minister this morning. We have said that Moloto Road, we don't want to continue calling it the road of death. It is the people's road. It cuts across 3 provinces. The Limpopo section is well advanced. We are going to complete that section. We have spent about 1.5 billion rand there. Construction should be completing this year. The Mpumalanga section, there are still a few more sections. It's about 3.6 billion. We really need to accelerate this, and all the tenders must be awarded. So by the end of this calendar year, we must know who will be building what here in this particular, and they must have started mobilization. In the section that is Gauteng, obviously there we have had a bit of delays in a transfer of land and then some of the roads. We are going to make sure that all the tender packages that side are advertised, so that when we head into next year, 2025, 10 years since the first declaration of this road as a national road, we can proudly say that Moloto Road, we are bringing it to life with all construction taking place, and the high number of accidents that used to be take place here all the time will be history. A lot of safety initiatives. It's a road that is focused very much on safety. That is why you will see the team will be putting in lighting, so there will be light across this road. There is median barriers to make sure that people don't cross where they are not supposed to, and overtaking and all of that. There is also a number of things that they will do along the side of the roads to allow for non-motorized traffic, pedestrians, bicycles, to be able to walk and move. And we are also making sure that there is stormwater drainage infrastructure that is built into that. And of course, what we are witnessing here is a bridge that also has space for livestock to cross safely underneath the road without having to become a safety hazard to traffic. So that is Moloto Road, about 10 billion rand. Treasury, through the Minister of Transport, already allocates money for this road. It is up to us, it is up to the community to work together to accelerate the execution of this work as fast as we can. Minister, your project.
No, thank you very much, CEO, and thank you, Sisi, for taking us through. Let me acknowledge the presence of the traditional leadership, the mayors, executive mayors from Krisani and from JS Moroka, councillors that are here, the chairperson of the board of Sanral, CEO, and members, and TTG Hlabisa from the Department of Transport, the media, and everyone who is here. Thank you for joining us. You will know that the President announced the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan. And at the center of this plan was and is the infrastructure development. And in our case, when we talk about infrastructure, we actually refer to road infrastructure, rail infrastructure, aviation for that matter infrastructure, which we'll also be announcing during the course of this week as to what we're doing in our airports. So, and when we talk about that infrastructure development, we actually mean projects such as this. And that is why we have taken time to come and see as to whether there is progress, particularly on this one road. This used to be a provincial road connecting 3 provinces. But in all the 3 provinces, it was a provincial road. But with the accidents that were happening, costing us a number of people dying on this one road, to the extent, as the CEO has indicated, it was dubbed the road of death, we decided that we need to intervene. Amongst the interventions was to then hand over this road to Sanral for better construction and better maintenance. And as you can see now, we've got all these projects, and as the CEO has indicated, we're adding lanes, for instance, in some areas, and therefore, where it used to be a single lane, it's now going to be a double lane or a 2-carriage lane. That's the language. Yes, and we are going to erect the high mast lights so that there is light on this road. We're going to put some walling so as to separate the 2 lanes to north or south to ensure in the main the safety of the road. We will be closing some of the illegal accesses because some of the accidents that happened, one of them I actually came to see when I was Deputy Minister. You could just tell, even if you're not an engineer, that the cause of this accident is actually the design, the access that is on a wrong place and wrong area. And we will therefore have to close those so that we take into account the safety of our people. So that is going to happen as part of this project. We are very happy that there's progress. We beg all of us here to support such projects. There is no space for mafias here, none whatsoever. We report this to the Minister of Police, because for us it's criminality and nothing less, nothing more. It creates a number of job opportunities, lot of skills, women, young people, some of the engineers that could not graduate, they get experience here, and therefore they're able to graduate. So there's a lot that we benefit out of projects such as this. But what also is pleasing is to see a young lady like this one being the project manager. And what we are seeing here is real engineering excellence that we have in South Africa. We don't have to import anyone. We use our engineers, and this is what they are producing. Myself, as an ordinary South African, you look at this, you think it can't be done by a person. But this is a project and a product of what we have in South Africa. We therefore are happy that there's progress. We request the communities around here, including our traditional leadership, to ensure that these projects are never disturbed. Any delay in infrastructure projects is not without cost. It's very costly. And that is why when we say a project will live for so many months or years, it's important that we stick to that so that we cut out any other unnecessary cost that goes with delays. Of course, others, it might be because of things that we can't avoid, weather and so on and so forth. But any other delay should never be caused by us. Probably, if there are challenges, we are ready to take and deal with those challenges without impacting on the project itself. So we're very happy. I'm impressed. I drove on this road from Pretoria. I could actually see that Sanral is now managing this road. Actually, we always say you keep your good roads good. Nothing less than good for Sanral roads, because road infrastructure brings investment. It enables us to access areas of economy, towns, schools, health institutions, and so on. So it's important that we maintain this at the highest level and we ensure that our people are able to benefit out of that. With this road properly constructed and maintained, I can tell you there will be investors that will want to come and invest in this area because it will be easy for them to invest in the area. So this is what we are doing here today. We talk about, the CEO is actually talking about the job opportunities that have been created here. But that is only here. But the material that they are using means that some way, somebody who must actually give us or provide us that in material must also employ people. So there's quite a lot that happens here, but that happens somewhere. The cement that you're going to use here, somebody must be responsible for the packaging of that, somewhere where we don't even know, and for that to supply us with that material. So we're very happy that these projects, they do create even permanent jobs. Here but elsewhere. They do create skills. They do provide opportunities to our young engineers. If I was an engineer and being involved in the construction of this road, for the rest of my life, I will tell my children to say, I actually constructed this bridge, and it's me and together with other people. And that we're therefore making history for some of our engineers in South Africa, young engineers in South Africa. She's a project manager. She will always refer to herself as the manager of this. She'll tell her grandchildren, even when she's very old, to say, that bridge, come and see what I did and what I managed and the success of that. We're happy to see, and the CEO said, we're actually elevating this bridge, and so as to allow the flow of water under the bridge. And I think that is also important. We have seen in KZN, for instance, during the floods, that some of the bridges were actually damaged because of their height. And I think we've taken note of that, and that is why we are elevating them, so that despite whatever happens underneath, whether there are floods, and therefore we take into account the issues of climate change as we construct our bridges. And that means we are ahead of the challenges that come with climate change as a country. So we take into account everything. And therefore South Africa, being a developing country, but we do sometimes match what the developed countries are doing. And thanks to the engineering that we have in South Africa, our universities they give us the best engineers that are able to produce what we have here. We don't have to import them. I say this and I'll say it again. Thank you very much, CEO. You give a politician a mic to speak, they never end. Thank you very much, CEO.
I take it we'll be leaving now.
I was hoping if we can allow them to ask maybe a few questions. The media house. Sure. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. To the media houses, my name is Lwanda Mahlasela, Media Relations Manager at Sanral. I would like to give you the chance to pose a few questions. We will take 3 per media house and 3 in total. At the Valazonga site. Okay, sure. Please introduce yourself and say which media house you come from, and then we can shoot. Any questions?
Hi, Minister. Zola Sholwana from Newsroom Africa. I just wanted to know if you, I'm not sure if I'm asking the right person, but the relevant person will respond to this. Do you maybe have an estimated time of the completion of this project, the road and the bridge?
Minister, good morning. Puleli Treaty Jones from ENCA. You spoke about how this will create investment as well, but one would like to ask about the state of the roads. What is being done about the proliferation of trucks on the roads, particularly because we see that there's a bit of a decay in rail infrastructure, and we're seeing more and more trucks using the roads as well, and amounting to some of the damage that is caused on the roads as well. What has been done to regulate this, and how are trucking companies being held to account? Thank you.
Shall we? The minister's going to take it. Okay. There you go.
No, thank you very much. The issue of trucks on our roads is indeed a problem. It actually talks to logistics, transport logistics in South Africa. And that is why we have come up with what we refer to as Freight Logistic Roadmap, which was approved by Cabinet. What we are trying to do is to remove the rail-friendly freight from the road to rail. Of course, the road-friendly freight will remain on the road. And that is why, for some who say when we do that, we might reduce jobs for the truckers and so on, it's not going to happen. What is going to happen is if we do nothing about this, the number of trucks are going to triple for that matter, and will not be able, therefore, to move our freight on the road because there'll be too many trucks on the road. And that is why we therefore are saying, in terms of the national rail policy, we have to separate the infrastructure ownership from operations. For instance, Sanral here, it is the landlord when it comes to road infrastructure, but it is not the operator. So it doesn't own any vehicles to the extent that any truck that you see here is owned by Sanral. What we are saying is that the rail infrastructure must be owned by the state and be managed by a state-owned company like Sanral, but then operators must compete, whether they are owned by the state or privately owned, as it is happening here on the road. The trucks that you see are owned by anybody, and that is why we're able to transport our freight. And that is why in the aviation sector, for instance, even if the airport infrastructure is owned by AXA, which is a state-owned company that is responsible for the rehabilitation and maintenance of our airport infrastructure, but the airlines are privately owned, are state-owned, and they compete at the same level for slots and for transportation of our people. So whether SAA or BA, for instance, it does well or it goes under, but there will be other airlines that are actually competing for slots. That is what we are introducing in the rail sector, freight rail sector. That is what we are introducing. So we're going to establish the infrastructure manager, and then the operators will compete. They will get access, operating licenses or permits, and they will operate on an equal basis and compete for slots, and they will get those from the economic transport regulator, which will allow them to access whatever route that is there. We already have an implementation plan in that regard. It's got timelines that we need to adhere to. That the act, the bill is in Parliament, it's passed the National Assembly, it's going to the President, and I want to believe that the President is going to approve it as quickly as possible, so that we are then able to establish that body which will give access to operators. And when that happens, if you have a train, you'll be able to go to ETR and apply for the operating license, and the ETR will say you can operate between Johannesburg and Durban. If there are too many trains already there, they will tell you that no, but that route is now saturated, but you still have a space between Emelo and Richards Bay. I'm making examples. And that is what we want to see happening. That is going to move freight from road to rail. That freight which is rail friendly, and leave the road friendly freight. That is what we are doing, and we're doing it with speed. Thank you.
The question about the program, as we've explained to Guti, the road section 2 is 48 kilometers, so we broke it up into small packages. So the pilot package we are going to finish mid-July this year. And then for the other work packages, I think the CEO spoke to that we are intending on appointing the 4 work packages that are remaining this year still. So usually it takes about, say, 36 to 39 months each work package to be completed. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, CEO. The next round of questions, we will allow them to be asked the next site, so we can move forward from here.
Does the need to to come? No. And there for